So, welcome everyone. I think we've got everyone here. Does everyone know everyone else? I think, or do we need introduction?
Let's go around. So,
okay, all right.
And I knew.
Well, I'll start. I'm Pete Salerno. I think everyone knows me. So, and I think Kent, everyone knows you.
Could be. Kent Smith, Byte Outfitters is my company, do digital marketing and website design.
Okay, and we'll go to Mike.
I'm Mike Iser from Associated Insurance, and I believe that I'm the new chair of this committee. That's what happened in the snow yesterday. So
Oh,
we'll
Yay.
see.
Congratulations.
We'll see what happens over the next hour.
Yeah.
thank you for stepping up and doing that. Yeah.
Okay, and we'll go. I'm going by order that I see it on the screen. Everyone, I think Zoom jumbles people though, don't they? So Kasia is next.
Hi, Kasia Vetter with Kasia Vetter Photography. Hello, everyone. And Claire sent me a link yesterday, and I was like, yeah, it's about time to get involved again. So, you know, cross the fingers, I'm going to stick around. I'm better with publications, but I'm going to try my best this time.
All right, great. And then Alyssa.
Hi, most of you know me from working at the Chamber, but now I'm a member with my business, Alyssa Sikorsky LLC. I do copywriting and social media, and I'm here with my newborn. So if I step away or jump off the call, that's what happens. Nice to see you all.
Okay. And Leslie.
Yeah. Hey, Leslie Day, Day HR Consulting. You know, I help small and middle-sized companies with all their people stuff.
Great. And we have virtual Claire.
Yeah, virtual Claire. I'm Maya, the events and communications manager for now for the Chamber.
Thanks. And Maya, you're usually on even when Claire is on as
Right.
well. So.
Right. Yeah.
All right, good. So the committee's taken a twist. We talked about it, I think, in December. Was it that Thanksgiving? It was between Thanksgiving. It was like a November, December meeting. We kind of combined them. We talked about that everything we were doing was, or the ideas we were coming up with was beyond marketing and technology. I mean, it included it, but it was beyond it. So we thought that programs might be a better fit for it, and Claire was in agreement with that. So we're changing it around, and so we have a bunch of ideas. Mike and I chatted earlier, and thank you for Mike is willing to step up and chair the committee this year. So he'll run the meetings. We have the minutes from the last one, and I think Mike put an agenda together too. So maybe I can just pass it over to Mike.
I'll try how to share this thing, and we'll figure this out. So hosting. I keep getting a message, host disabled participant screen sharing.
Hold on. Am I,
I think I am, but let's see.
I don't have the ability. Yeah.
It's just asking me to do mine.
I think you just do co-host and he should be okay.
Oh, there you go. Now I should be able to. There you go.
Okay, so so in the middle of the snow yesterday, I got this phone call from Pete, and I think he caught me at a moment in between shoveling or whatever, and I said, sure, why not? And then we talked this morning, and he said, well, you should have an agenda. So what I did is I basically took some information that he had sent over to me, which was some stuff, I guess, that Kent had done after the last meeting. And I don't want to recreate the wheel, but this was what came out of our last conversation. So going forward, we'll do a better job of being organized and getting stuff together. But I think that we can do a few things today. So as you can see, I hope you can read it. The new committee, the chamber staff is still going to be responsible for programming, but we will be providing topic ideas and suggestions. The key piece here is that what we're going to do is no longer just to be constrained to marketing and technology, because for those of us that were on this thing last year, that was somewhat of a problem. We'd come up with ideas and they said, well, that's not technology or marketing, whatever, which was fine. So I guess the idea came down, we can broaden what we're doing and do a little bit more and put it under the name of program committee. And Peter, you can certainly jump in if I'm missing any information in there. What I want to do, we'll continue what we've been doing for the last year, which was to meet on a monthly basis. And of course, I don't have calendar or anything with me, but I do believe that we were meeting like the last Wednesday of the month at like this hour, like at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So, and that was pretty consistent the whole year. I think the only time it didn't happen was like Thanksgiving and Christmas time. So unless there's a real objection, I'd like to try to continue that pattern as well. So it would be 2 o'clock on the last Wednesday of the month. Okay, so we all good with that?
Does that work for everyone? Some people may
Yep.
want a little earlier, or
We can do it earlier, but like I said, this was sort of the time that we had been doing it. So
Yeah, true. It's good.
Let's just give it a shot and see how it works. Yeah.
right, okay, that's fine. And we'll try to I'll find out how we get this on the calendar so that you guys can have all of this stuff up front. And
we have
put
the
it on there
person
so
right
that-
here, Maya. We'll make sure we're on the calendar every month.
Yep. I would do that.
And so, yeah, I'll get with you, Maya, and we can get this stuff taken care of.
It looks like that's the 24th of February would be the next one.
Yes.
All right. Let me see.
So it would be the 24th of February, and then March is going to be the same 24th.
I've got the 31st.
Yeah, I have 31st.
31st.
That's the 5th. There's 5 Wednesdays in March.
Oh, all right. It's
I think
not the
we-
last. It's the
Yeah, I think it's
fourth.
normally
Okay.
the fourth Wednesday of each month,
It's
Okay, so that's the 24th, right?
Right.
the 24th.
And then it would be the 28th of April.
I'll make sure to put them all in the calendar, the
That-
chamber calendar.
Right, we'll get calendar reminders out so everybody can put it in there.
Yeah.
They all have it, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so that takes care of the first item. So in my conversation this morning with Pete, and I honestly, I hadn't had that much time to think about it, but there were a couple of things that I had seen last year that may be very easy to do, may take sort of an act of God or something. But one of the things that I thought we should be able to do is, as we look at the calendar, and you'll see some of the suggestions in the middle section where it says, well, under the words, how do we respond to information for immediate needs? But below that was the tentative schedule that had been put together like November, December of last year. And what my thought is that the same way that we would have a regularly scheduled meeting, that we could then say we're going to have a regularly scheduled, virtual meeting, virtual event for the members. And we can, at least go through May or June at this point, because I don't think we're going to be able to do anything in person much before that. As someone who's just spent too much time trying to get a shot this afternoon, I would say it's going to take us 5-6 months to be able to get through that. So that would be the other thing, is to see if we can work with staff to come up with the same time on a monthly basis that people can know that there's going to be something coming out of the program committee. that they can put in their calendars and know ahead of time, especially because we're able to plan far enough ahead. Comments, suggestions, questions? Nothing's written in stone here.
So I'll jump in first. I like the idea of having a calendar out there planned well in advance. Gives us more time to get the notice out. One thing I did notice, in going back a couple of years before COVID, it wasn't the same time every month. So for example, I mean, a fair number of them were lunch and learns, but they weren't all lunch and learns. Some were a breakfast thing, some were just middle of the afternoon. And while I have my preference, one of the things I saw was we run the danger if it's the same time that there's certain segments of our membership that just can't make it. So all the hospitality industry people never going to make a lunch. I mean, they just, the hotel people, the restaurant people are never going to make a noon lunch and learn ever because they're working. So they welcome the ones that are 9 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. So my suggestion would be, let's keep that in mind and maybe try some different time slots so that we don't unintentionally blank out one portion of our membership.
Can we choose this? Can we take the same day and just have different time slots instead?
Yeah, I would think so. I had never even thought of that until I think it was it Amanda who's at the Holiday Inn? Something. She mentioned to me, "You're never going to see me."
Amber.
Amber. Thank you. It's Amber. You're never going to see me at a lunch, and it's tough for me to make the 5 o'clock ones, right? If you're a hotel, right? Everybody's checking in, around the dinner hour.
Right.
So
So
Restaurant.
can we do something like at 8:30 or earlier than that? I mean, give me some
Yeah, I think,
that experience here.
well, we have the chamber before hours, and that usually starts around 8 o'clock. Is that right? Is that?
I think it was like
I
7.
think earlier,
Yeah,
yeah.
7 a.m.
Earlier? Okay, yeah, it's weird. It's like only a year ago, and I can't remember anything before. COVID. Yeah, COVID brain, I think we all get. So I can't remember what life was like before then. Yeah, so we could do an early, so breakfast kind of thing, and we've done that. I've seen that in the past. There was a probably 5 years ago. There was a CPA event at the library that was a breakfast, and so yeah, I think we should probably. It'd be great. I like the idea of the same day so that people can expect an event. They just need to know it might be a breakfast, it might be a lunch, or it might be, after dinner. And it might be topical, like certain topics may target a certain group that would be better served in the morning or in the evening. So, maybe we should let's look at that as a possibility.
Okay, that works.
Right.
Okay.
So I think so. I guess we should talk to Claire when a good recurring day would be for that then. So that
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't do Mondays and Fridays, so we're only looking at Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, right?
Yeah.
possibly, yeah. Although Mondays are good. Monday mornings would probably be good days for restaurant people. Like no one goes to a restaurant on Monday. But anyway.
Let me get with Claire,
Yeah.
and then we'll let you guys know. Fill you in. And I'll chat, maybe before the next meeting, I can, we can get back to you and let you know what's going on with that. So, okay. So mixed times, choose one day of the week per month, and we can look at it this way.
Excuse me, are we figuring that we're going to be doing them in person really soon here? Or still Zooming for a while here, I think, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I would say we.
I think that, I think we're good at least through the next 5 or 6 months before we're going to be able to do anything in person. without any real restrictions. I don't see how that's going to change.
We might get an outdoor thing, like in July.
Yeah, well,
April?
so that's 6 months out.
Well, the other thing that's nice about Zoom presentations is those can be taped, right?
Yes,
Yes.
they become recurrent. Yeah, they become
So if somebody misses, no, I mean,
material.
like, right, if
Right.
somebody can't do it at the time, they could log on later.
Yeah, they can go to our website or on our YouTube channel and watch it.
Yep. And that's one of the things we should think about when we finally do get in person is that perhaps we keep the Zoom option there so that we do capture, we can record it and save it for later. And some people may want to still attend via Zoom even later on.
I think you're right, Pete. I think some people will still want to do Zoom. Maybe they can't take the time out of their day to drive the 20 minutes or whatever to where the meeting is.
Yep.
But they can dial in and mute themselves when they get a phone call and stuff and still participate.
Yeah, I've in the past, a year ago or so, beyond, I remember I would have like a call that would, you're hoping that it ends before, so that you can make it to an event that you want to go to. But, sometimes it doesn't happen. You end up late at the event or not at all because the call ran, you couldn't switch over in time. So
Yeah, and we want to have people meet in person, but if we're talking about a program where somebody's going to be educating us on a topic, that's,
yeah, that's different. That's not networking. That's like you said, that's content. Yeah.
So Amaya, are we putting the ones that we've been doing, or did we record those and are we putting those on?
So like just like the last one with Leslie's, we recorded it and we did put that up on YouTube.
Okay.
I don't know about previous ones. I know that from now, Claire has instructed me to record and then go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I think that's a
yeah,
great
I
idea.
suggested that they record it and post it, but like lawyers don't ever they won't let you do that if a lawyer's talking. Yeah, we would just have permission from
Yeah, I
whoever
guess.
was doing the presentation. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we can give them the option as to whether, when we can do it in person, we can do it both ways. Until that point, we'll still do Zoom. We can maintain a library of information that people would be able to go back for a period of time and take a look at the stuff, especially because it'll be a wide variety of information. So that it may be beneficial to people, especially if they can't make it or be online at that time, that they'll know that it's available at some point after the meeting is over. Right. And listen, I've done them and I never know who I'm talking to on the other end. So. It's very weird. They come back to, you did a really good job. Okay, but I didn't know who I was talking to. So at least here we can see some faces. So that's okay. All right. So that we can go from maintain a Zoom library, give people the options at this point. I think that we'll just revisit it, that particular piece 3 or 4 months from now, based on some experience, what we've done, and maybe we'll have a little bit better idea of what's going on in the real world, is to be able to get together. I had some guy who called me this morning. He wanted to meet me in my office. I've got to get permission before I can even do that. So we'll just have to, we'll play it by ear and see what happens, I think is the best way.
That's good. Yep.
Before we get it, well, we'll come back to that subject. So let's take a look at what hopefully you can see in front of you, what I shared. It's the middle section, and it comes from Kent's notes from November, December. Some subjects that had been discussed over a period of time. Starting, I guess Claire wanted to do something in January, but that obviously is not happening. And then
Well, that was me.
It did happen. Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
let's-
it
Oh, it
was
didn't happen? I'm sorry. I didn't.
HR, that's Leslie.
The HR, but not the trade show one.
Okay, all right.
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry. I guess I did not know about that. Okay, so the trade show thing clearly didn't happen. Just for everybody else, Kent or Pete, do you want to just bring everybody up to date on where we may be at with the,
So that was because we were thinking that there would be possibly be a spring trade show, but we're still discussing whether that's actually going to be pushed to the fall, in hopes that it could actually be in person. There's some discussion about a virtual trade show. There's some issues with that as far as I think that we'll have how to get attendance to something like that. Because we're trying to get to the outside. I mean, if we were doing business to business trade show, it might be different. But if we're doing, you know, to the public, I'm not sure if people are savvy enough to navigate a trade show type environment virtually.
I think that's one though that we can just hold when the chamber decides when they're going to do the expo. That's an event that I think we talked about do it at least 2 or 3 months ahead of time so that
For planning, yeah.
for planning, because you don't want to tell somebody, oh, you need to order trinkets or something and the event's in 2 weeks. You know, that doesn't help.
Right, it's a little late, yeah.
It's like I hate when at Thanksgiving, if you turn on the Today Show, they're showing you how to cook a turkey. Well, it's too late now, folks.
Right.
You didn't
It's
buy
already
a
in the
turkey and
oven.
buy it, you're in trouble, you know.
Right. It's already in the oven. It's too late to tell me how to do it. So then we have like February, which I think Kent and I we can handle that. My only issue is that the following one is that it's also a website one, and I don't.
Right.
Maybe we should either.
My note there was that one I think I could easily make it. I know we're trying to get blog posts as well. I could do a shorter version of that and do it as a blog post. And Peter, you might be heading where I was thinking, you know, we did this calendar with the constraints of marketing and technology, and we might want to kind of rethink our schedule here. And Mike, you've been a big proponent of, we should think about what businesses should be working on that are coming up in the year and kind of plan our topics so they're timely for that. So planning for Black Friday sales or whatever holiday sales, you don't do that in an October, November meeting. You do that ahead to help people when they're building their strategy. Because I feel like
a lot of people
we just didn't consider because we had those blinders on.
I think a lot of people are focusing on the PPP loans. Did the chamber have anything on that now?
We did one in December on PPP. I believe we had Mark on, and that's recorded too, I believe.
Okay.
But that was more about where it was at then.
Mm-hmm.
It was either November or December we did that. So probably with the new round of everything, it's probably due for a refresher. That's something that's very topical. You're right.
Yeah, we had another one too earlier in the year last year, and that one was very widely attended. So I think those are always good because it's changing so often.
Okay. Oh, it wasn't Mark. It was I had Inland Bank. We had them come in and do something. They did the talk.
So look, that brings me to the point that I have
Mhm.
right above the list of
Yep.
of months, which was how do we respond to information for immediate needs? So if we just use the PPP piece that's coming back out or is out or whatever, that would be a perfect example of, can we put something together quickly? In other words, reach out to somebody, get them on board and get it out to everybody. Is that something that can be done in let's say a 7 to 10 day period so that it's as current as possible?
Well, that's how we did mine. We did it fast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I know that, you know, the chamber's good at some of that. It doesn't allow people to save it on their calendar and stuff, but you know, I think the other thing that I was thinking you were going to bring up, Mike, is how do we pick who? I mean, that's always the challenge. You know, it might be that, you know, we think, oh, well, we had Inland do it last time. Let's do it this time. Well, and then 3 other people are mad that they didn't have the opportunity to do it. How do
Well,
we pick who?
Well, yeah, the answer to that is if you want to do it, volunteer.
So we'd have
Um,
to, so then we'd have to have a notice go out, is what I'm getting at. Would there be a
Well,
notice going out, say, hey, look, if you want to do this, let us know?
It's like a
So-
2 people, like 20 minutes for one presentation. The next person can cover up a different aspect to it. To be actually interesting to see from the different banks instead of just one person.
So question, Amaya, with the way we did this committee, I know there was some discussion at our last one about if we move this direction. Is Claire wanting us to find speakers, or is she just wanting us to help find topics and kind of flesh out the
What I
topics?
gather is she's, if you guys have an idea, that'd be like, if you have somebody, then yes, but more so the topics than we take care of, sending out the invites, you know, doing the calendar and so forth. So I'm pretty sure that, you know, because Claire does have names herself or people that she knows that, you know, are willing to volunteer and
Yeah, that's what I've done for like the solopreneur stuff I'm doing when I've needed a speaker. We have a topic and I
right.
don't have a speaker, I've just gone to her and she says, oh, you know, you're like, we have James Hamlin coming in February to talk about tax planning for your small business. You know, 2 representatives from there, I had no idea, but she knew they had approached her with interest in participating in chamber stuff, so.
Well, if we use that, is there a way that we can get somebody to put something on in this current round of government money and assistance? Is there something that we can get up in the next week or 10 days?
Yeah, I can, I mean, I could talk to Claire and see if she has anybody that she knows.
Okay.
And you know, to what Cassia said, maybe multiple, maybe it would be
Multiple, yeah.
a bank and an accountant and somebody else, you know?
Well, certainly the bank and the account would probably, based on what I've seen from clients that call me on the insurance side of it, there's always a question about what they need and what they don't need and stuff like that. So I think if you have at least the 2 financial side, that might be beneficial to someone.
Yep. Okay, all right, so we'll put that down as an ask.
Let's see if we can get that up in the, you know, in the next 10 days.
That could be February, yeah.
Yes, that is February, right.
That'd be February. Okay.
Woohoo!
And that February is what, this week? So
Yeah.
Next week. We
Holy
still have
crap.
February for the WordPress help desk. Kent and I can do that at any time. It's
Well,
something-
right, and I think we should get that on the calendar for February. I don't think we should just walk away. I think we should, at least that was
Leave it
already
there?
discussed.
Okay,
We should do that. And if we're able to do the other piece and get that up and running, that's also fine too.
Yeah, let's not delay any of these
No.
Can I suggest something?
Please.
My observation from my point of view as a photographer, a lot of people in the beginning of each year, pretty much they're hitting hard with the photo shoots, because of this, we have time to change our website. So usually beginning of the year, when I see the most, when people are like, okay, let's just rebranding, let's just work on a site because the holiday craze is over. So beginning of the year is great for those kind of strategies and ideas. What else we can do to improve our business with the branding and a little bit different, different phases of our business. And I noticed usually that happens in the beginning of the year, because the closer we get to the beginning of the year, and now because I'm looking for the topic branding strategies to grow your business. I think that we maybe just push for the March, because I feel like as closer it gets to I don't think it's just kind of observation, but it's also because then next we're going to get into the spring. Now people get vacations. Now they really don't have time to work on the ideas and branding, go back and have time to find the business and the branding. So I found that a lot of businesses I'm working with most of the time, they do any rebranding in the beginning of this year, every year. If that makes sense.
Mhm.
Is that something that you could put together for March? Maybe get Alyssa, since you're sitting there with a new business.
I would love to do it. My concern, I mean, I'm full of ideas. English, my second language, so I need a lot of support from the grammar side of the point of view. But I would love to, if I can have someone to work with, someone who would like to.
Chris Geimer, I think, had volunteered to
Yeah.
participate in that and help. I think with enough notice, I think she would jump in on that.
That'd be a great program.
Yeah, Kasha and Chris, and move that earlier because right now it's April, and that's way too, like you said, it's way too late.
Yeah, I think there'll be, so when's the deadline when we should have everything pretty much? Don't say tomorrow.
Monday.
I'm on it.
I think
Not.
we need to reach out to Chris because she's not on the
I
call
will contact
today.
her.
Okay.
And that'll be just our March topic, right? The branding.
Yes.
And so usually probably like 30 days before the deadline. It's a good one. We've kind of put something together.
I would think that's something you guys could work out between yourselves, and go from that point. And you can keep me in the loop as you wish. Check with Claire. I think that would be a good time to do that.
Well, and that ties in with what you have for March. After you decide to rebrand, then you would want to do your website audit. So maybe there'd be 2 in March.
That's funny because one of the parts of when I go through web audits with clients, part of it is look at your website. People don't look at their own website and it's totally inconsistent with their branding and they're missing products and it's just amazing how outdated people's websites are. And when they do all their other marketing, they print up new brochures and they get new products and stuff, but somehow that doesn't always make its way to the website.
Well, people don't spend money, the money they spend it on, like, oh, I love those brochures from 2 years ago. I spent money on it. I'm just going to continue using them because that's what happened with my marketing stuff. I rebranded my last year and I still was kind of using this the bad logo. And so I'm like, that's it. I rebranded. I'm going to stick with that and cry a little bit about this, but spend money for the old brochures and I get rid of them. But yeah, definitely that's what happens. People like still using old stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was on.
They don't want to throw the old stuff out. So,
Yeah.
you know, I get that. Is there a problem with trying to do 2 of these in the month of March?
Kent's is going to be a blog or something, so that would be that could be done either before or after. It'd be, if it's after, he could reference the meeting, or if it's before, they'd have something that they could reference during.
Yeah, I can just make sure I have it written by the time we do the branding meeting. And so then it can just be referenced as part of your overhauling your branding, doing your branding planning. Don't forget your website. And
yep. That would be good. And that would drive traffic to it. So I think that's a good point there.
Maybe there's 3 people in it and you're, a part of it too, but maybe an abbreviated part at the end saying, okay, now that you figured this stuff out, don't forget about your website. Here's some, audit things for you to think about.
That's true.
yeah. Totally, yeah.
It could
Roll
be,
it
so
in.
it turns it to more of a panel.
Mhm.
Yeah.
right.
That would, yeah.
Aspect of what you need from the branding, and the
Right.
social medias and the website, and that's links to the, our future blogs, which is going to be there about the website.
Yeah, I don't think we have to solve all of it now. Mike's got the notes on it, and once we get, Maya and Claire and Mike talking, then I think we'll be in good shape.
So what we had in April then was the branding strategy, right? With Chris, that was showing up in April.
Right.
So
That's March now. That's March now. That's the one we were just talking about.
that'll be in March. So
I think we need to get out of marketing. We need to,
Right, right. I think
Yeah,
if we've spent,
agree.
a month or 2 months on that, then we do need to move on to something else. So I guess the question would be, and here's something, I'm looking further down. I don't know whether you do this as a blog or you actually do this as a session, but it shows the date for retail week of May 1st to the 8th. Now this year that may be that much more important.
Mhm.
And the question then is, what can we do to help that out? And that could be something that we could do, early in April, 30 days before,
Yeah, yeah. No, that's
right?
a good
So
idea.
because,
Yeah, so part,
30 days from now, we're going to have a better handle on what the state's going to allow and stuff like that. Maybe we won't have 6 inches of snow on the ground. People are going to be thinking about what May is going to look like. So is there something that we can do to help the retail side in terms of getting their business out or ideas? Obviously, it all comes back to marketing again, I guess. But
it does bring it back to, well, I don't know, not necessarily. Doesn't this, there, maybe it's, inventory management or something like that would need to be looked at in the hopes that there might be, a little bump in sales at that point.
Pete, what about, if you remember the last board meeting, they had the College of Lake County talking about some of the things they offer.
Yeah.
And I know between them and the high school, there's the opportunity for, I'll call them interns, but maybe that's might overstate some.
Yeah, the interns at the high school would they be available during that week? That's actually,
well, no, I'm forget about I wasn't talking about the retail week. I'm thinking about planning for summer, because summer's a big time for internships and mentorships and all of that kind of stuff that maybe in the spring, whatever the proper lead time is for businesses, maybe we have one that talks about, hey, the availability of doing, not just from the high school, but there were also some things in that presentation from the College of Lake County that they're doing to try and hook people up. Some of it's paid internships, some's not.
right.
That
And
might be a topic. I'm just trying to think beyond the
Yeah.
marketing technology to other things. And
right,
thinking
school gets out, school's out in May, right? So,
that might be better off to do in April, actually.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
At the last networking Zoom thing that we did, I was in the breakout room with the lady from the high school district, I think it is, that's a member.
Mhm.
And we spent a lot of time talking about internships and how she gets the kids into these programs and whatever. So that might be something good for April.
Yep.
Was that Beth Slaughter?
Yeah,
So Beth talked about the high school, right? She's a high school.
yeah, she's high school.
But we had two people from I think it was one of them was the president of the College of Lake County, and then another person.
Amanda with an H, was that her name? She's on the board. She's a lawyer. She's on the board of Lake.
She's on
it's
our
not, it
board.
wasn't
Yeah,
Amanda,
yeah, but there were
wasn't
two
Amanda. She-
presenters from College of Lake County.
right? But she brought in two people that run the
I can't remember what it's called, and I had it printed out here too.
it's
But
the
anyway,
non-degree programs or something there's a whole business support organization.
Yeah, job placement office.
Yeah, so I guess I was thinking, and maybe it's April timeframe, we do maybe it's a broader headline for, supplementing your workforce in the summer or something. And it's specifically along this lines of temporary workers, there are internships or whatever, limited deal. And, oh, here's the partners in our community that can help you find. Did you know that the high school does this thing? Did you know the College of Lake County has these? Let's talk about that a little bit. And there's probably other things we could bring up, but it seems like a good time, given that the short-term versions of those, I think, happen a lot in the summer, especially like college students who are off or something in the summer, whatever. But,
well, I think that if the college and high school kids are going to be early summer because they'll be done by May, and then they go back in August, assuming that everything moves in the right direction. But certainly anything coming out of College of Lake County, that probably almost is 12 months a year because the
It could be,
students are here.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I think if we can reach out to both the high school side as well as CLC and see would they be willing to do something for a session for the month of April.
And Alyssa, not Alyssa, I guess now it's, anyway, for Claire, there are
Great, Claire.
laws about paying interns that I can give the chamber the information on so they could share that. So people do.
that would be a good,
That would be good, yeah.
So
okay,
I don't
we
have to
do
be on
research.
it, but I'll give it to the chamber so they can drop that in there for Claire.
Okay,
Perfect.
all right.
that would be good.
All right. So that gets us up to April at this point.
Well, I see they're conducting virtual interviews. They'll be kind of good to lead for their month after we talk about internship and all this stuff. That makes sense. Yeah.
Is there something that we can come up with? Okay, we have the virtual interview piece. We could build something around that. So we have, would that make sense to people?
You know, we
You
may
mean-
not
you
be
mean
doing
doing virtual
virtual
interviews?
interviews by then. We might be doing them in real time, but you know, people will still be doing them for out of area positions.
I don't know. I mean, obviously you could talk to 5 people and you get 6 responses to that, but I'm not sure that we're going to necessarily lose a whole virtual piece the way the business
I
are
don't think so.
running. I think that, you know, they'll still be doing some interviews. People are still going to be working.
Mhm.
They're not going to go back to offices, or the offices are going to change. Obviously, that's a thing we'll see as time goes on. But I think that we need to plan both ways
Yeah,
and try to educate both ways on those.
right. Although the majority of the members are going to be probably going back to in-person, the majority of them, because they're smaller, right? They already have. It's the big
I mean, my
companies
point
that-
is just do it on interviewing. It would be on virtual interviewing as well as in person. It would be more.
Right. Interviewing
Anyway.
skills to start with, yeah.
Yeah, I think that would probably make more sense, especially because what you can ask, what you can't ask, especially if you have someone that's new and has never done interviewing before. So this might be the opportunity to do something like that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well,
it's
you know, I
pretty weird,
teach
the
this
rules,
stuff
yeah.
at DePaul. So I do have
Okay.
materials I could give you on that to use and stuff like that. Well, I don't know if you guys knew that, but yeah, I do teach at DePaul University. I've taught there for over 20 years. And I teach human resources to other human resource professionals. So I've got, you know, easy things I can supplement for you, Michael, to use.
That's great.
Okay.
Okay.
I do think that's a good topic. I mean, we only have an hour for any of these topics, but Pete, you mentioned, you know, some of these people may not do a lot of interviewing. It would be good just to have a refresher of here's the things you need to keep in mind when doing interviewing, right? There's a lot of things do and don't do and best practices and tips and just a whole mess of stuff that
Right.
could
You
be.
can get yourself, what Leslie will say, you can get yourself in legal trouble if you ask bad
Yeah,
questions.
real quick. Yeah.
Yeah, Illinois passed a law saying you can't ask anybody anymore what their pay rate was at their prior job. So everybody's application blank has to have that off, and you can't ask people about pay. And I would guess, I mean, I announced that when I did my lunch and learn a year and a half ago. It's stunning. So I can easily, you know, provide you, Michael, whoever wants to do this. I've already done one this year. I shouldn't be involved in anymore, but I would be very, very happy to provide supporting. I've got a list of, you know, do and don't interview questions. It's 3 pages. It's easy. It's a Word document you could use. So there's things I can give everybody.
So since Leslie's already done her piece, is there somebody else in the chamber that does consulting, HR work, something of that nature that we can reach out to?
I would ask Claire.
Yeah.
Claire,
Yeah, so we let Claire find somebody. We give her the awesome topic and let her
Okay,
find
There you
someone. She
go.
can always come back to us and say, love the topic, but I need your help. Find me someone.
Yeah, parentheses, not Leslie.
right. I got that.
and it's not bad to do more than once in a year, right? You don't want to do them back to back, though. Yeah,
Spread it around.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
then-
surprised. So there's some of, Pete, you've experienced this. There's some of the topics that, we're like amazed nobody wants to do them. And so you
Yeah.
do end up going back to somebody who maybe presented fairly recently.
No, I think we do need other topics that we haven't touched on. It's like, I'm seeing this a lot. Is there's so many different insurances that a business needs, depending on the type of business that they need to have.
Oh, yeah.
The umbrella coverage, the E&O, the liability, the cybersecurity. Yeah, there's just, there's a bunch of them that you need to look at. And so that's something that I don't know when it would fit into the schedule or when would be a good time to do that. I don't know when peak time, I don't know if there's a peak time for insurance or is it just continuous?
No, there's never, first of all, it's never a good time because people don't want to talk about it. That's the first thing. And then when they want to talk about it, it's too late. You just have to look, it's a subject that people don't want to talk about. They see us as the enemy, as opposed to one of the three keys to running a successful business. So when I talk to people, I say you need to have a good lawyer, a good accountant, and a good insurance broker. And last week when I did that piece, I said I was at the Fifth Third Bank and I was trying to get the guy to show up to some chamber stuff. And I said, and you need a good banker as well, right? But I think that's the key. I think it's if we were going to do a series on, building a business, well, Kent does this thing with the solopreneurs, right? So when you're starting up a small business, the last thing that you think about is insurance until somebody says, okay, you have to sign this agreement and the agreement says you're going to have all of this insurance. And then you find out that you're going to make no money because you had to buy all of the insurance at that point. So you sort of have to work your way to a certain point, recognizing that it's part of starting a small business, because the bigger businesses that you want to talk to are going to assume that you already have all of the necessary coverage. If you're a consultant that it's, you have to have your own workers' compensation. You have to have all sorts of stuff. And people say, oh, it's too much money. And the other problem is then they go, let's see, there's no one from State Farm here. They go to their local State Farm guy, which is fine. But the problem is that they need to be talking to people that have experience in doing that kind of work, right? So I know I gave Leslie's name to a former client of mine because he had questions about how to operate. And he's a family-owned business for over 50 years. So people get to a certain point, they need to have that coverage. I don't know if he ever called you, but so.
Well, maybe you will. The thing I was seeing, I've been in chambers for many years, and I was in Virginia and saw many. I was on committees, program committees back then, before I moved here. But one thing I've seen that was done as a tandem is a seminar on, do you want to be an Inc? Do you want to be a sole proprietor? Do you want to be an LLC? I don't know what the word is for that, and then, okay, now that you have that done, let's make sure you got your insurances lined up straight for how you are organized. That might be one where you're kind of getting multiple interest areas in the seminar. Because I think that does affect some things, like as to how they're set up.
Well, certainly under the workers' compensation side. Kent, is that anything that you guys have ever talked about in your solopreneur meetings?
Well, honestly, we haven't, and I haven't gone down that path for two reasons. One is the people in solopreneurs are already formed their business, maybe not the right way, but they did. And also the, was it SCORE has a whole mess of that stuff that they do locally, the small business thing. They have them like every couple months, they're doing a series on exactly that. Which do you incorporate? Are you an LLC or an S Corp, or, you know, they go through it. I think, and I've gone to those, I think they do a good job. So one, I didn't want to compete with them. And then I was also looking at the audience of chamber members thinking, well, they're established businesses. I actually would love to find a way to kind of have as a funnel to get new members into the chamber. How do we tap into those people who are forming businesses? You know, I don't think they're going to join necessarily before they've created their business.
Well, and I don't, I've seen some SCORE presentations over the years. I would want to have our members do the programs if possible. And I'm not sure that, I mean, the last one I saw that SCORE did on that was that you were supposed to incorporate, and that was the only right answer. And I thought to myself, who are these guys, you know? And do they have any feet on the ground to have a feeling what it's like? You know, just because they work at a big corporation doesn't mean they have a clue about what we do every day.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. I think it very much makes a difference on who's presenting those from SCORE, because I've seen some good ones and some bad ones as well. Yeah,
And it doesn't have to be that a big of a conversation too. I mean, you know, just so somebody has enough to ask questions of their accountant or somebody who might be advising them. So, I mean, maybe that would be where one of our accountants wants to talk about the pros and cons of different kind of corps. And then following that, okay, now that you've figured out what you want to do, how to cover your butt and have the right insurances for your business.
Yeah, yeah.
So
there was a set of
you don't have any employees, so workers' comp ain't a conversation. But
Well, it depends. If you're going to go walking into somebody's business, you have to address that issue by going in, you know, as a consultant or something like that. I've had situations where people just were not going to get paid until they had insurance. They call me up back in the day when we could see people in person, and I need it right now. So
right, for people doing home repair and stuff like that, come in your house, right? They have to.
You can't,
right.
Yeah.
So people have to understand all of that stuff, and they're. So I think that if we had a way of saying that might be what that would be a fine 45 minute session of what is the best way to legally organize your business. I guess that would be.
Right.
Yep.
And I do think going along with that is it time to reorganize your business, right? Some people may have organized one particular way.
They've outgrown it.
Really small, and now their business has changed, and so it might warrant looking at that again.
I think it's just to find the right agent who knows your industry, because you can have, you know, agent's going to give you a great deal, but if he doesn't know much about the industry, or he's not willing to learn a little bit to help you when you need him, that's not going to work. The partnership sometimes with the right agent, it's additional, I think, you know, might help you with find the right insurance too.
Right. Well,
So Mike, is there a CPA that you like, that you work with or something like that you could split do, you know?
I don't, but I certainly can take half of a session.
I'm sure John would be.
Yeah, John also.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of people there. We have a lot of CPAs in the team, so we can call on them. I just wanted to bring up a couple of
finding one.
And that could be over the summer too, when things are slower, maybe for other
after April 15th. So
yeah, they won't. You won't get them in April, that's for sure. And there was the problem last year because of the everything being delayed. It was hard to get them, you know, all the way through June. But anyway, the SBA, when I started back in 2014, the Barrington Bank was doing with the chamber. They were doing a series, and they had, and I'll just show them here, record keeping, risk management, financial management, credit reporting, tax planning and
That's pretty
reporting.
good. You didn't get rid of any of that stuff.
You know, all those topics, you know, are like really kind of still, and insurance. So all those topics, you know, now for me, that was, I did this, you know, in 2014. It'd be really great to get refreshed on what's going on and stuff, but I'm sure other people haven't seen it at all.
Well, I think you could put together a set of 3 or 4 months worth right there. You know, tackle a different subject
I-
each month.
If the chamber could find out, I think those materials are provided by the SBA to chambers.
Yep.
And then
Yeah.
we have one of our members use
Use the
the
material.
slides and
That's what
modify.
Barrington Bank was doing. You can see it's all SBA branded. So that's what Barrington Bank was doing. They basically sponsored it. And we would just go to the library, have lunch on the bank, and spend, you know, an hour going through the material.
Because that's the pressure. Who wants to have to create a PowerPoint? But, you know, if there's already one that you just doctor up a little bit, that's easier. You know?
Well, certainly, believe me, the last thing I want to do is create a PowerPoint. If somebody else has already done it, because anybody that knows me, just, you know, you pull my string and I'll just start talking on an indefinite basis. So somebody called me this morning and he was selling me something and I ended up selling him instead. As a, you know, we'll see what happens over a period of time, but that's really what it comes down to is when we build, whether it's a CPA or an attorney or the insurance, you want to build these long-term relationships. If people only see it as to right now and we go to different directions, nothing is going to be accomplished. So if we can come up with a series of sessions, 3 sessions or something, or 4 sessions on and help people with their businesses, and whether that's an outgrowth coming out of Kent's stuff with the solopreneurs or something that is a way of getting new people to come and join.
Right.
People that are seriously consider. I'm sure that, you know, we have accountants. There was some guy that was on the Zoom thing. He was an accountant, and, you know, he was working with small businesses, and the questions that were being asked were ones dealing with organization type of things, and what do they do, and what is the best way. I think it was the last one or two of them that you had.
So Amaya, could you ask Claire to find out if the SBA has that material for free for?
And it doesn't have to be done monthly. I mean, it could be like a boot camp,
Okay.
right?
Could be.
Where it's, instead of a 1-hour session, it's a 4-hour session somewhere, you know, and go through more of the material.
And that might be a Monday morning or something like that, where we cram 4 in or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen. They used to call it fast track back decades ago, where the chambers would have like twice a year for these new businesses, where they would, you know, get a whole bunch of topics, just like Pete mentioned, you know, all in a day or, you know, maybe it was 2 Monday mornings in a row, and they got 8 sessions for an hour each or something. And, you know, that was really valuable for new businesses to have it, so they could, you know, do it fast. So a boot camp I know they used to call it fast track in the old days. When we had our meeting in the fall, I had looked on the internet and I found a place in Georgia that still called it fast track. But I don't think they use that word in the chamber world anymore. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I did this one at the American Management Association a long time ago. It was the 5-day MBA.
Mhm.
That's yet another good one for, although that's probably more towards corporate side of things,
Mhm.
but it applies to all businesses in some way or other. You know, obviously the stock portions of it probably wouldn't apply, but yeah,
Yeah, they had, like, in those boot camps, they had topics that they, you know, that they would regularly handle. Like, and I would talk about if you have an employee, here's a bunch of employment laws you need to know about, and here's an application blank that's legal, like the basic kind of stuff for a business so they don't screw up the basics. That's what
Oh, yeah, that's really helpful. Having templates for the different
Mhm.
documents. That,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, offer letter, all that stuff. I gave them all that stuff and told them keep it in a folder so they could find it. Nowadays, they'd all be electronic, but
What's the
that's the
folder?
whole thing is, what does a new business owner, if you've been in business less than, 2 years or a year, what do they want to know about without having to pay for an attorney or somebody?
Right. Okay, well, it's 3 o'clock and I have to be conscious of everybody's time, and I don't know how long we have the Zoom thing here for.
Yeah.
And I think we've got some good stuff at least for the next couple of months. So let me get with the office. Let me and talk with Maya, and we'll get all of the stuff put together. And then we'll be back to you, and then we'll see you in 4 weeks. And if anything comes up, we'll send you an email just to keep you all advised as to what's going on. And I thank you very much for your patience for today. We'll try to strive to do it better next month.
I thought this was
Stepping
awesome.
up to do this.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is awesome. I think this is exactly what the next step for the chamber, should be to grow these kinds of resources for the members. So,
Well,
Good
and that's
job.
what we'll do. We'll
Absolutely.
make it work until the golf season starts. But for right now, there's no golf. So we're good.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Thank
Good.
you all
Bye.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Have a great week.
Thank you.